It's a causes and solutions essay. It seems like you more often see, a situation presented, and then they will ask, what problems are created by this situation, and then solutions. Here's causes, a little different. Now, let's take a closer look. Okay. Well, I know this was how it was written or copied onto IELTS temple.blogspot.com. That's my website. And I was running I still am, I guess, a free assessment promotion. Nominally, I am a essay correction service by name, but I wasn't getting much traffic because of Facebook and their blocking of my site, but we're not here to talk about that. But what I noticed here was, okay, visited by foreign tourist. Well, it should be plural. Well, there was this is from IELTSbuddy.com. I trust that site, and that's rather official looking formatting. And you can see what the differences are mostly visited by tourists rather than local people. Okay, foreign tourists, that's a very big difference. There's lots of places in many countries where lots of tourists go to museums and historical sites, but they're from out of town. They're inside the country, but they're not local people. And this is different. Okay, why is this? Why do you think it happens? No big difference there. But what can be done to attract local visitors? What can be done to encourage local visitors? Yeah, okay, that part is the same. So I don't know what the real question was, but we have to deal with the question that we have. All right, let's look at our answer. Oh, before we do that, here the task response. Does what she is writing address the question? And does it qualify as fully supported, or is it supportive of the main ideas? Coherence, does it make sense? Cohesion, is it well connected and flows? Lexical resources, vocab, and grammar, range, and accuracy. All right, let's have a listen.
There has been an increase in the number of holidaymakers visiting museums and ancient sites in recent times, majority of whom are foreigners. This essay will elucidate why natives rarely visit these places of attraction and suggest measures to halt this trend. To begin with, most of these sites require access fees which are out of the reach of the locals who rather use their meager resources for life's essentials like food. For instance, the Lagos Museum has an admission fee of 5,000 naira, an amount that a local trader would rather use to feed his family. Secondly, the people around these sites perceive going into ancient buildings as a waste of time, as it does not add to them financially. They rather engage in a worthwhile business than lazy around some old buildings staring at antiques.
Yeah, lazy around some old building staring at antiques. Oh, ain't got time for that. No one's got time for that. Okay, different tones that I'm used to. So let's take a closer look at the introduction. Okay? So, all right, let's go through these points one by one. All right, there has been an increase. Well, that's great. We're starting it off with a present perfect tense and passive. Okay, great. But has there been an increase? Well, I don't see that. It doesn't say it anywhere here. That's not part of the question. You're not addressing the question with that statement. In the number of holidaymakers happens to be one word. It's a good choice, but it's one word. Holidaymakers. And ancient sites. Ancient sites. Historical sites and ancient sites are not the same thing. Ancient means very, very old. Like 1,000 years. There's no point where you say now it's ancient, but that's not what the question is talking about. I'm sure there's historical sites, could be famous buildings from 50, 100 years ago, from the independence of your country, or something. Maybe a local leader lived there or something like that. It's not ancient. Okay, article error. Holidaymakers visiting museums and ancient sites in recent times. Huh? Does it say that? No, it doesn't. Am I confused? No. Why? Because I've read so many essays where this sentence has been used just like this. There has been an increase in X in recent times. People are talking more and more about this. Well, they don't say that. The topic of insert topic here has become more of an issue lately. It's using a sentence that could go into any topic, any essay could start this way. And then, the examiners know this. You can't trick them. There's no fooling them. They know. Okay, so the only reason you said this, it's not because there has been an increase in recent times. No, we don't know that. Doesn't say it. The only reason you're writing this is because you're following a set series of statements, a template. And oh, nothing is worse for someone who has a high level of English than to follow a template. Bad idea. Okay, we have an article error. Now, the majority. And again, this is elucidate. Well, elucidate. Lucid means very bright and visible and fully explained. You don't have time to elucidate in an IELTS essay. Okay. Well, and particularly elucidate why. You can elucidate the reason, but elucidate why. Why don't you just say, "We'll explain." Natives. Here's a vocabulary word for you. Probably don't know it. Anachronistic. An anachronism is something that's out of its time. We don't use the word natives to talk about people anymore. That's a word they used in the colonial times. Places of attraction. Nope, not good collocation. Visit these attractions. Wait a minute. What can be done to attract local visitors to these sites? Oh, we want to halt this trend. So this trend means stopping the foreigners from coming to your museums. Oh my. Oh, we don't want that, do we? Yankee, go home. Okay, body paragraph 1. To begin with, again, I know why you're using it because you've been taught. This is how to begin BP1. To begin with, fits if the last thing you had said in your introduction was this discussion, this will this essay will look at ways to increase people coming from local areas to the museums, as well as discuss the several reasons why they're not coming now, or why at the moment it's mainly foreigners. Okay? But you said you're going to say that, and then to begin with. All right, most of these sites. How about many? You can't say most, that's saying more than half. And I don't agree that you should use these in a new paragraph. I see a new paragraph as resetting, beginning all referencing over again. This is my opinion. So you shouldn't use pronouns in the first sentence of a paragraph. Require access fees. Well, what kind of access fees? I know what you're going to say next, so you should have said expensive fees. They're out of the reach. Good. It's out of reach, not the reach. Out of the reach would be like physically, they can't, they can't hold their hands up high enough. The locals. Which locals? I don't like the is being used here before a plural noun when, well, you do have who, but anyway, I don't think it should go there. Who would rather. Okay? It's an unreal situation. We're hypothesizing. Who would rather use their meager resources. Oh, by the way, underline means good. I like it for life's essentials like food. Oh, absolutely good. Now, some people say you should use such as food. It's more formal. It's okay. For instance, use would. Oh, yes. Lagos, capital of Nigeria, I believe. Museum. Well, it's the Lagos Museum. Capitalize it. Has an admission fee of 5,000, spelling mistake, Naira. Oh, how much is a Naira? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Remember, your audience is international. And if you quote local currencies, you should always include US dollars. So I had to look it up. And an examiner won't do that. And I saw it was about, what, $12, $13? Yeah, that's pretty expensive for a museum in a developing country. Okay, an amount that local trader, why just traders? Don't other people, aren't we attracting a lot of people? And feed his family. Oh, that's good vocabulary, good collocation, but well, you know, an amount that a local person would find, an amount that represents a day's wages for an average worker. That puts it in perspective. Okay, secondly, people around these sites, it's like one block away, not very good paraphrasing, perceive, good vocabulary. Going into, again, not ancient, all right, a waste of time as it does not, as it does not add to them. You can't add to them. I mean, you can add to someone. No, you have to add to something that can be added to, as it does not benefit them financially, as it does not add to their bank account. Is that the only reason they don't go? They would rather engage. Now, I noticed here at this point, look, rather engage, rather use. Okay, rather use, rather use, rather use, rather engage. Rather's good. Prefer, mix up the vocabulary a bit. Okay, in a worthwhile business. In this instance, business is being used as like an activity. It's uncountable in this sense, so you would not use a. A worthwhile business, okay, they would rather engage in a worthwhile business compared to, would rather engage in worthwhile business. And don't use than here. Than is used with comparative adjectives. Then, ooh, this would have been really good if you had used it correctly. The word is laze. Laze, L-A-Z-E. It's a verb, and it's a very good verb. I don't see it very often. That would be uncommon vocabulary. Laze around some old buildings. Spelling error, starring is what movie stars do. It's one R at antiques. Good, I like it. However, by ending it that way, nowhere in this paragraph do you address the question. Okay? You give two good reasons why people don't go to museums, why locals don't go, and you've supported them pretty well. Now, that's very good. But you have to sort of dot the I's and cross the T's, as we say. As an idiom, it means take care of the little details, like finish it with referring back to the topic. Okay. These are two of many reasons why locals tend to avoid museums or historical buildings and museums. Connect it, mention it directly. Here are reasons why they don't. But all in all, good paragraph. Okay, BP2 and conclusion. Let's have a listen.
However, a lot can be done to encourage the locals to patronize these sites. First and foremost, museums and historical sites should be accessed at no cost, and if possible, incentives
what?
should be given to visitors to encourage
She's got a
more
great
people to
speaking voice.
visit.
I love her.
For example, the
Can I
Edo
stop
State
it? No, I can't.
Museum holds a raffle draw every year for visitors to win prizes. This has greatly increased the number of locals using this facility. In addition, the indigenes should be enlightened on the importance of these sites. They should be made to see their culture in a different light by visiting these ancient structures. To sum up, locals should be encouraged to visit tourist sites instead of leaving it to foreigners. These sites should be free to access, as entrance fees discourage patronage from natives. Also, the importance of these sites should be communicated to them, as most of them are ignorant of the purpose of such buildings.
Okay. Interesting. I like it. Okay, and so let's break it down. Even native English speakers make this mistake a lot. Is that a lot is 2 words. Same article error as before. Paragraphs reset the pronouns, and sites. I've seen the word sites many times already. Okay. Oh yeah, 8 times in the whole essay. First and foremost, once again, the only reason you are using this connector is because, and I don't know which website it is. Is it IELTS Gareth? Is it Liz? Is it who is telling you to follow this strict structure and use things like first and foremost? Do you understand what that means? First and foremost means most important. The most. Well, why say that? Because you're putting extra work on yourself. Now you have to, sure, if you're stating it, you have to support it. How about, one of these reasons is, and, all right, should be accessed, be accessed, be accessible at no cost. Hey, that's good collocation, good vocabulary. And wait a minute, at no cost for locals. You forgot to mention that part. And wait a minute, I thought it was first. If something is foremost, it needs to be singular. Foremost, one. You can't be first and foremost and mention a bunch of things. You understand? Foremost means the one most important thing. So don't show 2 things. Incentive given visitors like me. Okay, and State Museum should be capitalized. A raffle draw. How about just holds a raffle? Draw is what they do at a raffle, so you don't need to say it, to win prizes, such as what? Okay, and locals don't use the facility, use the museum for what? Indigenes. Once again, an anachronistic word. In ancient times, not ancient times, 100 years ago, English-speaking people would come into your country and call you indigenes, indigenous, the people who lived there before the English people came. And now we come in and tell you you have to take this IELTS test. Has it gotten much better? I don't know. Enlightened. Well, enlightened is a stronger word than you need. Now wait a minute. They should be made. Well, let's get to that in a second, but what it means. But look, can be done. And here it wasn't. You didn't mean to say accessible. You meant to say accessed, as this is a passive construction. All right. Oh, yeah, that's active. That's active. Should be enlightened. Be made. You've got a lot. You use the passive far too often. Right? Well, why do you use the passive here? Who's going to make them? That's an important part of the idea. And the idea is pretty hardcore, is very fascistic. You will see the light of your culture. Will make you. You must go to the museum. That would, yeah, okay. That would certainly attract. No, it doesn't say attract, not force. You may need to see their culture. All right. In a different light by visiting these ancient structures. And we've gone over why it's not ancient structures. Forced them to go. Museums aren't ancient. All right, to sum up. Why did I know that you were going to end with to sum up? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shit. Excuse me. Did I not? I said, oh, okay. Let's go back. All right, so ignore the bullet points. I'll just have to do it manually. All right, should be encouraged to visit tourist sites instead of leaving it to the foreigners. Why? Here's another problem. Remember, in a causes solutions essay, you are not being asked for your opinion. You are not being asked what should we, except for the second part. But I'm thinking that you feel that this is a very bad thing, or it's not asking you that. Okay. Should be encouraged. Why should they be? Would be encouraged. It would be better. Or, no. Sites should be freely accessible, free to access. As entrance fees of any kind, discouragement, patronage is good by natives. I'm also not a big fan of starting a sentence with also. I think it's okay in casual, everyday writing, but in academic writing, they would look at that poorly, and particularly as the last sentence. Also is adding an extra point, and you don't want to do that in the last minute. Oh my God, 25 minutes. Okay, wait a minute. Most of them are ignorant. You never said that before. Ignorant is a harsh word. I don't think you should be saying that about people. Okay, there's the site in total, 291 words, pretty good. And then this tells you how 9 times you use the word sites. Should 7 times. All right, there I am. Let me tell you something here. Okay, and here's your essay as a whole. And this is my main point for you today, precious. Okay. These words are in your essay, but they're not yours. They're not your words. You're using them because you're following a plan that someone suggested that you use. Okay, I think that's very good advice for someone who is a 6.0 naturally. By some of the language and structures that you use, I can tell that you're better than that. You're better than a begin with, however, sum up. You begin with a for instance, for example. Look at that. For instance, for example. Secondly, in addition. Secondly, in addition. You don't need these. You could come up with an essay that doesn't use anything like this. In fact, I would challenge you to create your next essay without any of these phrases. Okay? I'm not saying you shouldn't use cohesive devices, but use the ones that you think fit, not the ones that you've been told to put in there. All right, after 26 minutes, I suppose you want some band scores. All right, you misunderstood the question a bit. So that doesn't help how we're starting off in task response. Here you have 2 points, and they're both well supported. They are. They're very well supported. Here, this one, the first one, is well supported. Yes, they should be at no cost. Or how about reduced costs? Here in Myanmar, when I want to go to a museum or a cultural site, Yeah, they charge me $10 too. But a local gets in for 25 cents. Anyway, and then this part here is unclear because you don't say they should be made. Well, of course. How should we get people to go to these places? We should force them to. That's not good support. And then, okay, so task response could be a 7, but I don't know. Could be a 6 as well. And this is mechanical over. I don't know how they view that these days, but I guarantee you, out of 100 essays, 25 of them are going to have this exact same pattern. And that's not good for you. Lexical, very good. Grammar, overuse of the passive. Overuse of the passive. When you put it this way, they want to see a variety of structures, but don't think that using the passive is going to add up and add up. No, once you've shown you know how to use a grammar structure and you've done it successfully, doing it again doesn't help you. You need to do something else. So, those are my advice. And more, visit me at IELTStemple.blogspot.com. No commercials, no advertisements, lots of fun things to find hidden away in the corners. All right, Precious. It's been precious helping you. Good evening, everyone. Joko here, and I'm actually excited to bring you this essay that was written by Precious If You Don't. Now, why am I excited? Well, we have the didgeridoo to build some excitement. It's the writing from someone outside of the normal group of people I read. Part of the IELTS tips and tricks group. You actually now, I read more of your essays than I do of my own students here in real life. I am an English teacher, and right now I don't have any IELTS classes, so this is it. And this is a problem. The main issue with this essay is one that I've been working on with, when I've noticed that a person is able to express high level of English in some ways, but the training, the learning, the very valuable learning that they've received gets in the way of expressing themselves in such a way that their ideas are clear and well supported. You'll see what I mean. Okay, now this is the question. It's a causes and solutions essay. It seems like you more often see, a situation presented. Okay, so here's what I came up with. Okay, so here's what I came up with as an answer for that question. All right, body paragraph 1. Okay, key reason. Explain right away what the reasons are. Good. One of them feels asking. I say here, for example, as a means to as a means of explanation, not so much of an example. And then I give another example here. Now, how would that sound in song? Yes. Stay working. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Looks good here. I'm frozen. Why am I frozen? Oh, shoot. Okay, so okay. Oh, look at that. Camera's down. Everything's breaking at the last second here. Aha. No, that's fine. What's moving? Error occurred. Escape. Yeah. Okay. Hey, it looks like we're going here now. All right. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. All right. And frozen again. Well, and that looks good. Stream health. Stream health. Stream is healthy. And I have sound. Okay, great. So we're live. It's 1:30 local time here in Myanmar, and I've come to you today to talk about the poll that I put out the other day, and to give specific feedback to one person who has been waiting patiently here. SSS, I assume that's Raman. Right? Are you the same person? I can't tell. But firstly, my name is Joko McKenna. I'm an IELTS tutor and an English teacher. Right now I'm based in Mandalay, Myanmar. And I understand how task response is the most difficult part of the task 2 question, because it's not really about English. It's not a test of your English skills. It's a test, well, it is to some extent in that you have to read the question correctly, but it's about how to organize ideas so that they support your positions. Or if you're doing a descriptive essay, as we have in this case today, do you describe it in a way that it is effective and follows the instructions given? So we'll come back to this. So Faki, you said that you were looking for identifying the main information in a task 1. How do you find it? Okay, well, if we looked at this, wait, what's that? That's over there, so that would be over here. Yeah. Okay, here's the results of our Facebook poll. Actually, it's close. I just inflated the numbers. And if you were to say, what's the main information here? Well, it's pretty obvious, really. About half the people said one thing. That's it. That's the main information. Now, what about highest and lowest? Does this orange bit here, should you report that as the main information? Absolutely not. It is, by the fact that it is, so it's inconsequential. And we'll come back to task 1 and how to do that, how to look at the main information at the end, or after we do what we came here for, or the first thing we came here for, which is to talk about, see if this works. Mirror. Yeah? Okay, I'll use this. Oh, if I have to use the mouse. By the way, those of you in the chat, if you would please let me know if my volume drops or I can't be heard. I can't tell if I can be heard or not. All right, there was a poll. Yes. Advance to the next slide. All right. So, it's already been mentioned in Sadeep, was it? By other mentors that, well, look at this strange question. It's not a typical situational essay. A situational essay sometimes is known as a problems and solutions essay. But this one here, thank you to Shelley for telling us that yes, it is, from Cambridge 16. And in a situational task 2, you're either asked, they've come up till now in 2 types. The what are the problems
what are the solutions? And the other one is, what are the causes? What are the solutions? Those are the two types of situational essays we've seen in the past. And here we have a situational question. In some countries, more and more people are becoming interested in finding out about the history of the house or building they live in. What are the reasons for this? How can people research this? This is not a problem. Well, I mean, no, in no conceivable way is this a problem. But it is a cousin to the problems and solutions essay because it describes a situation and it asks you to say why the situation has occurred. Okay? So I should have not revealed that, but you know that, let me switch back here, that you're being asked to talk about, come on, where are you? Yeah, okay, here I am. Say hello in the chat. Okay. So you're being asked to describe the reasons. Why? Now, problem solutions essays have always had, what are some possible solutions or measures? Now what it's asking you is, how do we tackle this? Okay? All right? How do we address this issue? And that's really sort of what we're asking here, except it's how do you do it? Right? How do we handle it? How do we do it? Same thing. Come on, thing. Move. I thought this worked. It worked a second ago. Okay, how about I just put the space bar? Will that make it advance? No. Huh? Here we go. Okay. Oh, and by the way, the question would include the words, give reasons for your answers and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. That's in every task too. And don't forget it. It's important. Okay? Then, how do we handle it? Okay, so let's analyze this question. And it doesn't matter what task 2 it is. Start by asking yourself the WH questions. Okay? So, who are we talking about? All right. Homeowners, not renters, not people who live with their families. Homeowners. Where? Everywhere. Well, not everywhere. In some countries. Okay. When? Nowadays. What are we doing? We are researching the history of our homes. And why? Well, that's the point. That's the main question, is why. So you begin any task 2 with analyzing the question and then try to come up with some ideas. Brainstorming. There's lots of ways to do this. I like the spidergram method, where you take the 2 parts of the question, and you don't need fancy graphics like this, but you break it down and you have 2 little circles. Say, why? Why is this happening? How do you do it? And then don't stop yourself. Don't say, well, that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. What you want to do is just let yourself come up with as many ideas as you can, get them down on paper, and then sort them out. I know, I can't look at that and that at the same time. That's a shame. What if I... No, that wouldn't do any good. Okay, I can make this smaller. Over here. Here. Okay, so why is it happening? Well, it's easier than ever to do it. People might be doing it for insurance reasons, or they want to have a connection to the place that they're in. How can you do it? You can ask your neighbors. You could look at old court records, or you could look at fire maps. Now again, these are just my ideas. I had not read the candidate's essay at this point. And here it is. Sumit Singh Sakon. All right, and here's his essay as a whole. Now, into the specifics. So, in your introduction, you've got you want to show that you understand what the question is about. Okay? There are two parts to this question. Oh, let's make it darker so we can see it. And what do the colors mean? The colors match up with the band descriptors you see at the bottom. All right, so in the question, it said, in some countries, more and more people are becoming interested in finding out about the history of the house or building that they live in. And in your intro, you say, in some nations, an increasing number of individuals are becoming interested to know the history of accommodation in which they are living. You've changed a few words, but the structure of the sentence, okay, is exactly the same. To paraphrase effectively, you have to change both. Okay, if you can only change one because of your skills, that's okay. But to get the highest scores in, this is actually going to count for lexical resource, change the structure and the words. So, okay, instead of an increasing number of individuals, say more and more people are curious to learn the history. Okay, but you see what I did there? Instead of saying an increasing number of individuals are becoming interested, you can say an interest is being built in more and more people. That's a little more. That's passive construction. But don't just swap out words. Interested is always followed by the ing, by the gerund. So interested in knowing. Okay, what's the difference between a house and a home? This is an important distinction to make. A home is any place that you live. Okay? It could be a shack down by the river. It could be a penthouse apartment, 100 floors in the sky. It could be an apartment. I live in an apartment. Or it could be a house. A house is a freestanding building that is built for one family to live in. That's a house. Okay? There's no place like house. No. Home is an idea. House is a physical thing. People can find the past of their houses. So again, people don't just live in houses. And accommodation is where you live temporarily. Okay, like hotels, not permanently. Okay. So, now in your body paragraph, this is when we come down to what is the first thing you want to answer? Is why are people doing this? Now, you can say something like, well, it's the advantages that they get from doing it which causes them to do it. They do it for the benefits. They want something. You've written this first paragraph as in to explain the question, what do people get from doing it? What are the advantages of doing it? That's not the same question as why people do it. You have to make that connection. If you want to say it's the advantages, fine. Here they are, and these are the reasons why people do them. Because you can't just, what you've done here, there are a couple of reasons why people get interested in finding the history of the building in which their houses are present. That doesn't make sense. Firstly, investigating the history of your home, okay, provides them the information of material which was used while constructing it. Okay? All right, so that's a benefit. That's what they get out of it. They learn this. But you don't say that that's why they do it, okay? You just tell us what they get from it. And then this helps them to take the further steps in maintaining their accommodations. Really? Okay? How do you know the history of a home? If I want to know what my home is made out of, I'll look at it. Maybe hit it a little bit and drill into it. Okay, it's made out of this. By checking it. That's not the history of the home. Okay, so, I mean, it doesn't matter if your ideas are not good. I mean, that you can be wrong, and that's okay. You still do well in the IELTS if you do what they're asking you to do. And here they want you to say the reason is people want to know what their homes are made out of, and research into its history is one of the best ways to do that. Okay, so you've connected it. It might be silly; you could just find out by looking at it. But if you present it the right way, it doesn't matter what your ideas are. All right. So it not only helps them maintain it, but it lets them know the exact value of their home. Okay. How? All right. So again, it's not a question of whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. It's, do you say explicitly that this is the reason why they're doing it? Because they want to find out how much their home is worth. Oh, secondly. Now we're in secondly. Okay, and then we have, a little problem here with pending. Okay, pending means hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen. How is my video? I'm not paying attention to the chat room here. It hasn't happened yet. It's in the future. So you wouldn't discuss. Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted. There we are. Okay. All right. So, pending is telling us so you can see the problem there. Pending is the opposite of previous. Oh, I see. Get over there. Right. No. Okay. Aha. Huh? Display settings. No. No. Show taskbar. Okay. Yeah. Okay, body paragraph 2. Nevertheless is used to say, to show contrast. Okay? Despite, in spite of this, or we're going to ignore the thing that came before that. So ignoring why they do things, we're now going to talk about how to research your history of your home. That connector does not belong there. Individuals can use various methods to investigate the past of their house. They can take samples to know the material of construction and get a result after examining it in a laboratory for, Okay, so now, is this researching the history of the home or the current state of the home? It's looking at, how it is. Of course, it had to be made in the past, but this is, you're telling us instead of how they can research the history, they'll come to know about the adhesives, and that helps them do maintenance. Well, now you're answering us the question of why, again, instead of how. Oops. All right. Moreover, government authorities provide the history of the bills, such as electricity and telephone. Is this about the history of the bills or the history of the home? History of the home. So there's two tasks, your task response on this is going to be lack because you did not answer the question, why do people do it? Instead, you said what they got out of it, the advantage. And then for how, you described a method of determining how your house is at the present. And then described a way to find out about some, I guess it's about the house. So when you look in the band descriptors, it says addresses the task only partially. Okay? The task here is why and how. And you've partially addressed it in your 2 paragraphs. But you certainly had not got to the point where you addressed all parts of the task. Okay? So 5 or 6 there for a task response. And if we look, there are other ones, I mean, coherence and cohesion, solid 6. Lexical could be a 7. Grammar also very good, 6 or 7. So 5, 6, 7, 6 is a 6. Okay? And so it shows, once again, for every type of task 2, it's task response where you need to pay the most attention. And that's where knowing the different types of questions is so important, because you would have done much better if this had been an advantages and disadvantages question. Or sometimes we'll see, is this a positive or negative development? If the question had said that, you'd be right on. But it didn't. So carefully, it's all about reading the test. Now, if you look at the numbers, the students here, the task, the IELTS tips and tricks, they had the most problems with it. And then the numbers here in the table show us that its writing is a full half band less than the other responses. Now, those are numbers based on memory. They're exact numbers. But it's writing that gives people the most problems, and then in my experience, it's task response or task achievement that gives people the most problems within the writing itself. So the best way to improve is to identify where your weaknesses are, and for the world, we found it in this topic. Now, what about task achievement, as it's in part 1 of the academic? Identifying the key information. Well, there's a lot. I've done whole videos on that. I can point you to those. But if we look at the one that I created for this presentation, show taskbar. Show taskbar. Where is it? There it is. Okay. What's the key features of this slide? I already told you what it wasn't, that it's not, it doesn't have anything to do with, where's my, there, oh wait, there. Laser pointer, there we are. Wow, there. Okay, great. All right, so here, this is it right here. Okay. These 3 are about, whoops. These 3 are about equal. Is that important? Not so much. This is definitely not important. Here's the important part. And then here, is this important? No. Women and men got the same height. These 3 are almost the same. These 3 are less the same. But here, this is dramatically different than the other thing. So look for what's really different, and you can find it in more than one place. Okay, so I would put the main information on this. First, your part 1. There is a pie chart which illustrates how a number of IELTS candidates responded to a poll regarding the band descriptors in the writing task, as well as one table with the raw figures, that's this one, and another with 2017 IELTS results worldwide. Overall, it can be seen that the writing paper gave test takers the most trouble. Ta-da! And that within that task, the task response achievement band descriptor was, I missed a word in there, was by far the one most reported to cause difficulty. No statistics, no numbers, just what the main things that jump out at you are. Okay? So that concludes my presentation. And so now we can go to questions, if there are any, for the two people. End slideshow? That takes me to that. Oh, where's my... Yeah, okay. Show my schedule there. Okay. Oh. Look at that. Really, lots of snow. It's snowing here. So, let me go to back to the surprisingly excellent streaming. No problems. Okay. Where's my lovely assistant? I don't have one. Questions? Pew. Oh, here. Where else can you get information about this? Well, you can go, OBS. Can I just use a browser? Well, that one, okay, we'll use window capture, yes. Which one? Okay. Good, no embarrassing porn or anything on there. If you go, that's my blog. And here, writing task 1, the salad. Writing task 1. Okay. This is a 3-part lecture. This one in the middle, this part 2, this is the one that I would recommend if you've got 20 minutes to watch it, because it discusses the most important part of task 1, identifying the key features, and it goes through several examples. Okay, so again, that's at Temple Blogspot, or you can go from here, yeah, writing task 1, the salad. If you want to practice your task 1, oh, do I not have a... Where's my... Oh, yeah, here it is. Whoops. Go visit the picker. Here I have... Her. All right. No. This is something relatively new. Here's some instructions. And if you want to practice your task 1, just click on this. Oh, what do we want here? We got bar graphs. Okay, bar graphs. Oh, bar graphs. Yeah, bar graphs. Bar graphs, or bar charts. And then it gives you another randomizer. You click this, generate. Oh, 12. Isn't that clever? Okay, so we go to 12. Oh, 12. It says 11. It says 11. It doesn't say 12. And here's your task. And that's a good way to make sure that you're not just picking ones that you think are easy, is that you don't get that freedom in the test itself. Okay, that concludes my live broadcast. Oh, wait. Okay, here we go. Raman, dear sir, can I brainstorm ideas But when I organize them, I become confused. Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, here, what you could be more specific. Let me tell you what the 3 steps of brainstorming. Putting it down on paper, okay, that's the first step. Then crossing out the irrelevant ones. Okay? Don't use everything. Get rid of the ones that that don't fit or you don't have enough ideas to support. Okay? Also, it's good to sometimes combine. If 2 of the things you put down in your brainstorming are similar, merge them into one idea. Okay, so it's about finding ideas, then getting rid of ideas is just as important as finding them. Getting rid of the ones that don't fit. Wait, am I still? I'm not over here anymore. Okay, you hear me, but right. So, yeah. Okay. So I heard you there, Sandeep.